Hey folks, well, geez, the season is a couple of weeks away, but here's some juicy news coming out of Leafs land. We're going to share it with you. We're going to get down to the bottom of things right here on the OZone. You're in the offensive zone, your place for Leafs hockey. Hey folks, welcome to the OZone. That's Coach, that's KD, and I'm the Diva. We're here to talk all things Leafs. Folks, remember to hit subscribe, ring the bell. That way you never miss any content. Also, share the video, like it. It helps broaden the audience. And lastly, leave a comment. This is the most important thing. We listen, we respond, and it helps make us get better. Okay, so the Leafs have played some preseason games. They're playing a preseason game as we speak right now, folks. They've amassed more and more injuries. We'll get to that in a little bit. Sandin signed. Hey, that's something. Finally. Maybe let's lead with that. What does the signing mean, KD? Sandin.
Oh, I mean, he's back. He's back in the fray. You know, he was a rumor for a while there, and though we've talked at length about how that left side is still bungled up for him, better that he's signed and ready to go than not. And now he can practice with the team. Now they can work on ways to build the defense core out. So yeah, I mean, it's great. I think we have cap issues now all of a sudden, but well, maybe not all of a sudden. It's been going on a while now, but it's better for him to be around. I mean, truthfully, we know that. With the way the Leafs are structured, with all of that money at the top of those 4 or 5 guys, we have to develop young players and get them into the system. So it really is important that guys like Sandin and Liljegren succeed. I think we need those guys to be successful. Yeah. So I'm glad he's here.
Yeah, no, it's a great point, Coach. Coach, what do you think about the Sandin signing?
I'm a little frustrated that it took so long when that deal was there for him all summer.
Yeah.
Right? They look at him and Liljegren being pretty equal. I mean, all the stats, we covered this before, they're all equal. The deal was there. He ends up taking that deal. And it's a little curious, too. He takes that deal right when the Leafs D are dropping like flies.
Yeah.
You think maybe he might manufacture a little leverage. I can't believe I'm saying this, fellas, but I give Kyle Dubas credit. I mean, he could have folded, given him a couple thousand more, right? Knowing that we got to get this guy here. I don't want to go through another Nylander and wait and piss away half a season. We got to get him in camp. So he stuck to his guns. Yeah. That's the right number for him. Got him for 2 years. So that's good. Maybe he saw what was going on. He just said, screw it. I don't want to go through this. Let me get over there and start playing. So that's good. He'll get a chance. We've been talking all summer about the left defense and the glut there, the log jam. Well, maybe not so much anymore.
Yeah.
But he's got to get in and get up to speed. He's missed a few days of camp, right? Need him ready for the first game of the season.
Yeah, it's a good point. And, I think maybe even to your point, Coach, Dubas certainly didn't cave or fold or get nervous, overplay his hand. He did sweeten the front end of the deal a little bit. I think that's just something to save face with the agent and the player. Get him in there. I think that's what you got to do if you're a savvy GM.
Well, he actually sweetened it the other way, right? So his second year, he gets more, which makes a little bit of a difference when he gets a qualifying offer because it's based on your last season.
Correct.
So his second year is better. So, yeah, hey. That's rearranging some deck chairs on the Titanic.
That's exactly right. Exactly.
Let's not use Titanic as the analogy here, please.
What should I use? 18-wheeler going off a cliff, Brian?
Hey, don't worry. It's not May, fellas. So don't worry about it. All right, I'm going to throw a few names out here, and I want to see if you guys can tell me what's the same. Tavares, Liljegren, Engvall, Muzzin, Ben, Gaudette. Anyone know what the same thing with all these guys is?
Do I have to answer the
Yeah,
question?
none of them could make my beer league team.
Well, all of them are lined up outside the infirmary. This is there's a silver lining. Obviously, we start the season. We're going to have some cap relief, and we will perhaps get to escape the waiver wire of the first week of hockey. But my goodness, it may start getting worse there too. So, Katie, what do you think about all these injuries? What's going on here, and is it a concern? Is it a real concern?
I mean, yes and no. Like, other than Tavares, I'm not. And I shouldn't say that. I'm worried about Liljegren too. I think that's to me that screams lingering injury, and they don't need that on the right side. But I mean, we've gone really a couple years with really not pulling any young guys into the lineup with any real legit shot. Like, they've all lost their jobs to Spezza and Simmons and all those guys. So like, this is a really legit chance to have the younger guys play extended minutes. And it's kind of important now. Like, if we figure this is a good team, it's going to make the playoffs kind of through thick and thin, barring any sort of crazy stuff. This is when you want the injuries, at least with some of the guys. I mean, clearly we want Tavares to be healthy the whole season. But so long as the goalies, I mean, I want the two goalies to start, be ready. We haven't had two goalies that were healthy like through the first 2 months of a season in a while. And clearly you want Marner and Matthews ready to go. The other guys we can mix and match. Hopefully with Tavares it's nothing serious, and we just pray that Liljegren is this is not something that we're talking about in the summer.
Yeah, no, and I mean it seems like it's a sports hernia, and all bets are off on trying to handicap when that. The interesting thing is, and I've scoured the internet. Maybe you guys can correct me on this one. There's not really an indication of when it happened. Like, this could have actually happened a month or so ago, and somehow they kept it under wraps, and maybe he'll actually be ready to go week 2. I can't discern when the injury actually happened, but it's a sports injury. If it actually happened when they announced it, a sports hernia is it can have you out for a few months, and you might not get totally right away. So it is a concern for sure. The other thing I want to throw out there also is, Mikheyev goes this offseason to greener pastures. And yeah, Soup's hurt. Well, he always does get hurt at the beginning of the season, I guess. But so your penalty kill is already kind of down a little bit, at least from what it was last year. And then Engvall gets hurt. And I have a feeling that they had earmarked Engvall to have a slightly bigger role, especially in these sort of character roles of the game. I think he would have had a much bigger role in the penalty kill. He's down. He might miss some time. Again, next man up. But it's maybe not ideal for some of these pieces here. Liljegren, Engvall for sure. Coach, what do you think about all this? What's the biggest concern?
You're going to get some injuries in training camp. This is a lot of injuries. It's almost like a black cat crossed their path, eh, KD?
Felix.
We better be careful. But look, the most troubling, you mentioned Tavares, the most troubling one by far for me is Jake Muzzin. Guys, Jake Muzzin missed 20-some-odd games last year, right? Probably should have been sent to Robidas Island, and we could have really beefed up the roster, and he could have come back for game 1. But they want to get him back. He played 2, maybe 3 games, and then the playoffs, and now he's hurt again. He hasn't even skated in training camp yet. A lot of miles, a lot of hard miles on his body. We've been kicking it around. I'm an advocate of needing him in the playoffs. But boy, if he can't get back, we're banking on him being the old Jake Muzzin next April and May, and it's becoming less and less of a probability here. Right?
What is the old Jake Muzzin?
We got to get him right, and he doesn't have to play all 82. But my goodness, he had all summer, and then he can't start the camp. Like, I wonder how broken down he is, guys. It's troubling.
Well, I mean, and there's a very, very decent possibility, maybe even probability, that the reason that Sandin signed is because they came to him behind closed doors and said, Muzzin's not right. He might not be right for the season. I think Sandin was holding out not so much for the money, but more for the play time. And they might have just said it doesn't look like he's ready to go anytime soon.
Could be.
I mean, look, forget closed doors. That could be an open door conversation, quite frankly. I mean, it happened after the announcement of two big defensemen, three defensemen, really, but two that could play that side. So I don't think, I think that's reasonable, 100% reasonable. All right, guys, preseason is preseason. Not going to make too much of a big deal out of it, but Samsonov and Murray both look pretty sharp in their action thus far. Samsonov put in some time tonight. Made a couple of big saves tonight, too, I want to add. Does this matter? Is this news? Does it make you feel any less anxious about the beginning of the season? KD, we'll start with you.
It's good that they're in there and happy that they're playing. The key is health. Like, these guys have to both start healthy and on time. And the thing that will scare me is if one guy goes down and misses any time. We saw what happened last year when that happened, and it was disastrous. We need both guys going October, November, no injuries until we get into a groove. So no, I don't care that they're both playing well in preseason, but health,
All right, so I know we're talking about Murray, so I know your answer, Coach. So rather than ask you that question, let's just go into one of our favorite segments, a little segment we call Where's Coach?
All right, where's Coach? So, love this segment, guys. Hey, it's been a busy week. Got a lot of really positive feedback from the last Where's Coach. We'd taken that youth team to Atlanta, won a tournament. One of our most watched videos ever. So, hopefully we get a few more subscribers out of that too. But I mentioned at the end of that, youth hockey's alive and well in Texas. Let me give you another example of maybe why. So our beer league team had our golf trip this week. Here's a picture of the fellas. There's 11 of us in this shot. And it's a pretty diverse background from left to right. It's Arlington, Texas, Yellowknife. There's the old coach there from the Big Smoke. London, Ontario, another Arlington guy. Guy who didn't get the memo about the red shirts is from Saskatchewan. In the back, Minnesota. In front of him, Montreal, the two guys back in front, both Minnesota, and then Calgary on the end. So of that group, 11 guys have coached youth hockey. 6 are still active. 2 guys are amateur scouts. Like, the reason why Texas hockey is doing so well, it is guys, there's tons of other guys like this, right? They end their career, they come down, and they live here. And then, share their knowledge. So this has been great.
Hey, can your boy from Calgary there, can he fill in for Jake Muzzin? Look at the size of him.
No kidding. Big Mark. Yeah. He's a good player. But he wasn't my problem on this trip. So here's the license plate of one of these guys that rolled in. Habs. And here he is here. This is Pat Sabraka. I've talked about him on a podcast before. He's from Montreal. Look, you got to get along. And I don't want to be like Rodney King here, but can we all just get along? I will say this about Pat. I don't like the Habs. Never have, right? He doesn't like the Leafs either. But he's a passionate fan, just like we are and just like our subscribers are. He brought his little iPad. He watched the Habs game, streamed it, preseason game. Nice. He's as big a Habs fan as we are. What I don't care for is fair weather fans. You like the Leafs? Well, I'm going to see how they do this year. Get out of here with that. You're either in or you're out. We're all in here, fellas. Anyway, Pat's a good guy. But look, that wasn't the biggest news I had this week. The Where's Coach for just today is, let me show you this poster here. I played last year. This is my second year playing in this charity hockey tournament. And the deal here is you enter a team and you get to draft a player from this group of people. Mm-hmm. Now, the guy in the top right didn't play. Okay, that would have been not fair. But the rest of the guys you could draft. So we played in as a 3-game tournament today. We drafted Brendan Morrow for our
yeah.
team. Canadian Olympian, right?
Yeah.
We're like, oh, we got this. Well, it turns out Brendan Morrow couldn't play. So one of our guys got on the horn, and he called a buddy he played with a long time ago, and he came out. And this is the guy that came out. This guy here, his name is Jeremy Yablonsky. I better get his name right, as you'll see in just a second. What a mountain of a man. I mean, 6'1", 245 he was listed at. He's bigger than that, believe me. So let me show you his hockey DB page, and this is nuts. So he had a 3-year junior career, right, and 13-year pro career. Let me just point out 2 lines. The yellow line here, he played in the NHL. He played 1 game, he had a fight, and he was -1. 1 game. But he played in the NHL, this guy.
That's awesome.
But you may look down the penalty minutes line of his stat sheet and understand what his role may have been. So let me just point out his first full year in pro hockey, 2001, 2002. Idaho Steel had 69 games played, 303 penalty minutes. Let me just say, if you're a guy who likes to chirp like me, what a godsend to have him on the ice, even in a little charity thing. I had so much room. No one was coming near any of us. What a beauty that guy is. Anyway, he's from Saskatchewan, Leaf fan as well. So, that was awesome. But I'll finish with this. The best thing about the charity thing is they've got a banquet the night before, and these guys show up, and you can have a beer with them. So here's a picture of me and the guy who ran our team, Adam Doyle. By the way, he's from the Hamilton, big Leaf fan. In the middle, and then the guy on the right here is Darren Pang.
Oh, yeah.
5'5". But what a great guy, man. Talked to us for a little bit. What a great guy. And I'll leave you with this picture. In this picture here, between these 2 guys, there are 894 NHL goals. I have none. But Gretzky has 894. That's Wayne Gretzky. As close as I could get to him. He spoke. It was awesome. So, I spent a hockey and golf week. That's the worst, Coach.
I was going to say, I'm surprised the restraining order didn't kick in there, Coach, but you got pretty close.
Okay, so I'm wearing a Leaf hat there, right? So very, very soon after that picture's taken, I'm looking at him like everybody else is looking at him.
Yeah.
And he starts moving because he sees that somebody's going to say, "Hey, bud, can I get a?" And then the whole thing is going to go, right? So he looks, and he looked at me, and he looked at my hat, and he gave me a nod, and then he could not get away from me fast enough. It's a trend.
Yeah. Well, there you have it, folks. That's Where's Coach? And we are back just about. We're 2 weeks away from regular season hockey. And you know what? We're going to be here for you. Certainly before then, but we're going to be here after that, too. We're excited to have you here with us right here on the OZone.